Hey everyone, in case you were wondering if I stopped cooking, I thought I'd better include you in tonight's dinner prep. It's funny how things go. It's Wednesday, March 29th, and I'm working from home today. And instead of having the day I envisioned, I started working at 7:30 in the morning and went non-stop right up until 5 o'clock. And it was one of those days where by the end of the day, I was definitely having a Calgon take me away moment. I got a lot done, and it's better to be super busy than wishing you had work, right? So I'm going at tonight's meal that I had planned, baked chicken and rice. And instead of using dry rice, which would ultimately take an hour and a half to cook, and it is now 5:45, I am going to use two wild rice containers, chicken and herb rice that's pre-cooked. There are only four of us having dinner. I estimate that this will really only take about as long to cook as if you were just, baking some chicken on its own. So instead of the hour and a half, I think it'll take about 30-40 minutes, but otherwise I'm following the recipe, and of course I'll link it down below. Anyway, we're going with chicken breasts. You start by buttering the chicken and seasoning it. This recipe does not call for using garlic powder on the chicken, but I'm going to do a little bit of that because you can never have too much garlic in my opinion. And then a little thyme and salt and pepper. One of my very favorite herbs that I am not good at growing at all. Kill it every time I try, so I've given up. I think maybe it's the South Florida heat. At least that's what I tell myself. And what I'll do is after I get the rice mixture into the pan, and I'll put this chicken in there, seasoned side down, and then I'll butter and season the raw side because I don't want to flip it over here on the cutting board because, that makes you lose the seasoning you just put on there, in my opinion. Okay, so into this bowl, the rice, and then it calls for 2 cans of cream of mushroom soup. I'm doing a can of cream of onion for added flavor and a can of cream of mushroom with roasted garlic. A clove of garlic, and I say 2 cloves is better than 1. And if you can't taste the garlic, what's the point? It will soak up some of this soup mixture, but I think that'll be about right. Bought this lemon casserole dish at Home Goods 4 or 5 years ago, $10. I absolutely could not afford to spend any frivolous money at the time, and I could not talk myself out of it. And I have a love for lemons in the summer. So all I can say is I have never once regretted buying it because this thing cooks so beautifully. So once in a while, you got to give in and buy something that's really speaking to you with no regrets. And again, there's just 4 of us, so that will be plenty. I'm sure we may end up with leftovers, which I'm trying to avoid, but when you're making this kind of dish, you kind of have to round things out, right? I forgot the onion, you guys. It calls for 1 whole chopped onion. This was a pretty big onion to start with. So I had a half an onion in the fridge that needed to be used up. And because I reduced the amount of rice, I think this will be more than plenty. This day went by in a blink. A blink and a cloud of frustration. That was my day. How was yours? I hope it was better. But here I am, still alive and kicking. And cooking. Yay me! In goes the chicken. Oh, and by the way, these are 2 chicken breasts, which I split in half. And then I pounded just a little bit because a couple were a lot chubbier than the others. So these are about a half an inch thick, I'd say. Garlic powder. And the other thing I'm going to add after I've done the little bit of broiling, just for a little flavor pop and, that whole crowd pleasing moment when they see the dish, I'm going to put some crumbled bacon on it after it's done cooking. All right, so cover the dish with foil. If you're using dry rice, like I mentioned a moment ago, it says to cook it for an hour and then uncover and cook for 30 minutes. But I'm not using uncooked rice, so I'm covering it. I'm going to cook it for 30 minutes. Then I'm going to take the foil off and do the broil thing for 3 or 4 minutes and top it with the bacon and the parsley. I have some bags of roasted potatoes and carrots, like the bird's eye, that I'm going to throw on a sheet pan and put it in the oven in about 10 minutes. Aldi has their butter, a pound of butter, on sale starting today for $2.45 a pound, you guys. So if you need butter, go to Aldi. I'm going to chop up a little of this broccoli. Then I'm going to slice up this Cuban bread and this leftover dilly bread. And dinner will be ready in 20 minutes. One little tip for those of you who are boiling your fresh broccoli. Well, this is fresh broccoli. So you chop it up. You fill the water, maybe halfway up, drain it all out except for, a few drops that are left behind. And then I like to put a couple dollops of butter. And then I'll do a little salt and pepper for people for good servings. And what I'll do is I'll loosely lay the lid over this and then I'll microwave it for about 3 minutes, 30 seconds. And that's perfect for this amount of broccoli, which raw is maybe 3-4 cups. So just to summarize on my use it upness here tonight, I used 2 cans of the cream of soup. And if you've been following my channel, you know I really needed to use a bunch of that stuff up and have a bunch more to go. I used 2 of the chicken breast. And I used up, as you saw, 3 packages of the pre-cooked rice, which I really needed to do. And the last of the dilly bread that I made. And the last bit of Cuban bread. And I bought a pound of broccoli at Publix last week. It was on sale for $2, which is a great deal. So here's the finished meal. The baked chicken, roasted potatoes, steamed broccoli, and bread. The bacon and parm helped zhuzh it up a little, but it was kind of altogether meh on the flavor profile, not one of my favorites, but at least we all got fed. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.